I'm calling to order the ONCC General Committee meeting for the O'Hare Noise Compatibility Commission for Friday, October 1st, 2021. The commission is meeting remotely pursuant to Public Act 101-0640 related to COVID-19, which allows public bodies subject to the Open Meetings Act to conduct remote meetings under certain conditions. Mara, would you please call the roll?
Village of Addison,
Here.
Arlington Heights,
Here.
Bartlett,
Here.
Bensonville,
Here.
Bloomingdale,
Here.
City of Chicago,
Here.
City of Chicago 36th Ward,
Here.
38th Ward,
Here.
39th Ward,
Here.
40th Ward, 41st Ward, and 45th Ward. Cook County, Des Plaines,
Here.
Downers Grove, DuPage County,
Here.
Elmhurst,
Here.
Elmwood Park,
Here.
Franklin Park, Glenview,
Here.
Hanover Park, Harwood Heights, Hoffman Estates, Itasca, Lincolnwood,
Here.
Melrose Park,
Here.
Mount Prospect, Niles,
Here.
Norwich,
Here.
Northlake.
Here.
Sorry, what was that? Come on. Northlake, yes.
Here.
Yes, I see Mayor. Okay, thanks. Palatine,
Here.
Park Ridge,
Here.
River Forest, River Grove,
Here.
Rolling Meadows, Rosemont,
Here.
Schaumburg,
Here.
Schiller Park,
Here.
South Barrington,
Here.
St. Charles, Stone Park, Wayne, Wooddale.
Wooddale's here.
Thank you. School District 2, 7,
Here.
48, 59,
Here.
63, 64, 80,
Here. 80's here.
thanks, 81, 84, 84 and a half, 85 and a half, 86,
Here.
87,
Here.
88, 89, 100,
100's here.
214,
214 is here.
234,
Here.
and 401. Let me do a quick count. Okay, we're good. We have 34. It's my count.
Very good. Okay. Thank you for attending, everyone. Next, we need approval of two sets of minutes, September 10th, 2021, ONCC meeting minutes, Do I hear a
Motion
motion? I'm
Sorry,
sorry,
it's Karen.
on.
Motion to approve.
you were reading my mind. Do I hear a
I'll
second?
second.
Any discussion, any changes or amendments?
Chairman, it's Aaron. Is the motion to approve one or both?
I want the record to reflect one at a time, so that there's no,
Yeah, so
Okay, I just wanted to
motion to
check.
approve the September
yeah,
meeting minutes.
that's what I
Or-
said. Motion to approve the September 10th, 2021 minutes.
I'll move to.
All right. No discussion on the September 10th minutes? All right.
We have to roll call, sorry.
God, I hate to do this. I'm
Can
sorry.
we-
Let's get this
Can
done.
could we do the motion together?
We could and then combine them.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
why don't we
should
do that? I just
Okay.
want to make sure that nobody has any amendments,
Yeah.
additions to make. June 11th, do I hear a motion to approve the June 11th, 2021?
I'll move so.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second. It's Karen.
All right.
Do we have to amend the motion to include both minutes? Sorry.
Yeah, Chairman, you have two motions on the floor, so we either need to combine the two motions or do them one at a time.
I'll amend my motion to approve both the September and the June meeting minutes.
Yes, and Chairman, now you need the second to concur.
I will second it.
Thank
All
you.
right, very good. Okay, call the roll for approval of both minutes since nobody wants to make any additions or corrections.
Addison,
Yes.
Arlington Heights,
Yes.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Bensonville,
Yes.
Bloomingdale,
Yes.
City of Chicago,
Yes.
Chicago 36th Ward,
Yes.
38th Ward,
Yes.
39th Ward,
Yes.
40th Ward. I'm not gonna call these, they're not here. 40, 45, Cook County, Des Plaines.
I'm here. No comments.
Okay. DuPage County,
Yes.
Elmhurst,
Yes.
Elmwood Park,
Yes.
Franklin Park, not here.
Yes.
Glenview, oh, sorry, is Franklin Park here?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, sorry. Is Franklin Park here?
Yes, Franklin Park's here.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay. I'm just going to confirm that these are not here. Hanover Park, is Hanover Park on the call? Harwood Heights.
Here. And yes.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Uh-huh.
Hoffman Estates. No. Itasca. Lincolnwood,
Yes.
Melrose Park,
Yes.
Niles,
Yes.
Norridge,
Yes.
North Lake,
Yes.
Palatine,
Yes.
Park Ridge,
Yes.
River Forest, River Grove,
Yes.
Rosemont,
Yes.
Schaumburg,
Yes.
Schiller Park,
Yes.
South Barrington, St. Charles, they're not here, not here. Wooddale,
Yes.
School District 7,
Yes.
59,
Yes.
80,
Yes.
86,
Yes.
87,
Yes.
100,
Yes.
214,
Yes.
234.
Yes.
Okay. Did I miss anyone? I just want to make sure I'm not missing anyone. Okay, thank you. Motion carries.
All right. Thank you, Maura. Next on the agenda is presentation. One of my priorities for the commission is to provide more educational opportunities for the general membership. I've asked Ryan Anderson of Lambert and Brown to provide a presentation that has been given at the technical committee so that some of you may recall this some information. For most of you, this is going to be a review, but some of you may be hearing it for the first time. I think it's important that we all get reacquainted as well as we can with the operations of the airport so that when we talk to our constituents, we know what answer to give them that's correct. I hope you do find this useful, and I think you will. Our intent is to better help you provide answers and information to your constituents. Ryan? You ready to go?
Mr. Chairman, while we're waiting for Ryan, I was just contacted by Commissioner Peter Silvestri on behalf of Cook County, who indicated he has difficulty signing in this morning.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Can everyone hear me and see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. Airport 101 was originally developed to give new commission members a basic understanding of the airport environment and go over some terms that we frequently use when discussing airport operations and issues. I've given this presentation several times, usually kind of in a classroom setting and in person. Unfortunately, it is what it is, and we're doing this over Zoom. I do prefer it kind of to be an informal discussion and allow people to ask questions as we go along. However, for this presentation, we decided to split it up into two parts. So we'll be doing part one here today, and then covering part two at the November commission meeting. If you have any questions, I guess we'll go ahead and hit your raise hand button on the Zoom, and Maura, I think once we get to the end, we can go through and see if we have any questions. Okay, so today in part one, we're going to be talking about different types of airports, ownership and identification of airports. We're going to go over a basic introduction to air traffic control and airspace. And then next month at the November meeting, we will go over airport operations, discuss navigational aids and lighting, airport funding, and also the most important National Environmental Policy Act, which plays a big role in airport development. First, I'd like to show you a time-lapse simulation of 24 hours of operations at O'Hare. The intent of this is to give you an idea of the scale of the amount of operations that the airport handles on a given day, as well as the difference between daytime and nighttime as far as the level of operations. In the replay, red are departures and blue are arrivals. Some of it is sped up, so it's not going to be in real time, so we can get through obviously 24 hours quickly. We're going to be starting at 2 a.m. in the morning. Some things to look for are the, as we talked about quite a bit in technical committee meetings, as well as the Fly Quiet committee meetings, that in the morning, arrivals really drive the ability of the airport to either stay in flight quiet mode or have to come out of it. And the nighttime is the departure demand that really drives that start and stop of flight quiet mode. So in the morning, you'll want to see, all those early morning arrivals that are coming into O'Hare. Those are mostly, trying to get in to make their connections, as O'Hare is a major hub for both United and American. And then in the evening hours, you'll see the red departures really take over the demand. Let's go ahead and play this. Again, it's starting at 2 a.m. in the morning. Blue are arrivals. You see all those West Coast arrivals coming in. And as we get into the early morning hours, you'll see the blue pick up, as well as now we're into full morning daytime mode with the red departures. As we get into the afternoon peak, this is usually the peak level here in late afternoon as far as operation levels. And then as we get into the evening, you'll see the arrivals blue die down and departures really kind of fill the demand as the departing aircraft continue on their way. And then as we circle back to land, you'll see those international flights either departing over to Europe or as the Pacific markets starting to come in. Oop, we don't want to watch that again. So we have several different types of airports, and they can range from anything from a rural airstrip, which can be just a clearing, a smooth clearing that allows aircraft to land and take off safely, usually small general aviation aircraft. We have private airports where people can own homes and have their own private runway with private access to it. This happens to be John Travolta's house with his own personal 707 parked in the driveway there. Military airports, of course, primarily dedicated to military type operations. Community and regional airports usually consist of 1 or 2 runways and mainly serve general aviation aircraft. You may recognize this airport as the airport of our Vice Chair of Schaumburg. That's Schaumburg Regional Airport. As well as some larger regional airports such as Chicago Executive, which really serve to carry the overflow of general aviation, especially corporate aircraft, and so that they kind of don't have to be in the mix with some of the larger airports that mainly serve commercial airports. And then, of course, we have our major hub airport, such as Chicago International Airport, which tend to be much larger and serve quite a bit larger commercial operations. For those of you that don't know, with the opening of 9 Center, 27 Center last year, Chicago O'Hare International Airport is now with 8 runways, has now more runways and 3 air traffic control towers more than any other airport in the world. So there's a lot of pavement at O'Hare to accommodate all those aircraft. Airport ownership. Commercial airports in the U.S. are generally operated directly by a government entity or government-created airport authorities, sometimes known as a port authority. For instance, Chicago Department of Aviation owns and operates both O'Hare and Midway International Airports. Los Angeles World Airports is the airport authority that owns and operates Los Angeles International Airport, as well as Van Nuys Airport in California. And the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, beyond bridges, tunnels, seaports, they also operate JFK, LaGuardia, Newark, Teterboro. So various types of different public entities that generally operate airports in the US. Internationally, however, airports are generally leased, owned by a regional or national government body, but then leased to a private corporation who oversees the airport's operations, such as London Heathrow, which is operated by Heathrow Airport Holdings. The International Air Transport Association is a trade association of the world's airlines that was founded back in 1945. And they support airline activity by coming up with standardized policies, such as creating standardized forms for baggage tags, reservation systems, airline tables, etc. They also are responsible for administering airport codes. So airports all over the world have a 3-letter identifier. In the early years of aviation, when they started assigning airport codes, there were actually a 2-letter system that was used originally by the National Weather Service to identify cities across the US that had weather stations. And the airport system decided to adopt that system And when it started to really take off in the industry, the aviation industry take off in the 30s, it was determined that cities without weather stations needed an identification as well. And so the 3-letter system was born to simplify things. And to make it easy, existing airports simply added an X after the weather station code. So for instance, Los Angeles was originally, the 2-letter identifier was LA, and they just added an X. So that's why Los Angeles is referred to as LAX. Portland went from PD to PDX, and Phoenix went from PH to PHX. For O'Hare and Midway, a little bit of a different story. For Chicago O'Hare International Airport, before the city of Chicago started building the airport, the land was originally used by Douglas Aircraft Company that was manufacturing the C-54s for World War II in a massive factory there on the corner of Higgins and Mannheim. And they had some airstrips there to support that factory and the aircraft testing and delivery. When the city took over the property after World War II, the general property in the area was referred to as Orchard Field. And so then when O'Hare received its 3-letter identifier, it was the abbreviation of Orchard, so ORD. And then Chicago Midway International Airport, obviously named after both the Battle of Midway as well as the general Midway area that was used for the Chicago World's Fair back in the late 1800s. So MDW for Midway. The International Civil Aviation Organization is another organization that is a part of the United Nations that was established at the Chicago Convention in 1944. And it served to help standardize international aviation, coordinating air travel, establishing rules of airspace when traveling to different countries, aircraft registration, safety and security, etc. And so these are the 2 major organizations that play a role in standardizing aviation safety and efficiencies. So we had those 3-letter identifiers, but as the more and more airports across the world came online, the 3-letter identifier wasn't enough. And so they had to add another 4th-letter identifier to denote regions of the world. And so each region adds a letter to the beginning of that 3-letter identifier. When they were doling these out, I'm not sure what happened, but it was clear the rest of the world decided that the United States was not going to get A, they weren't going to be first. And so we got K. So not an A or a Z or a U for US, but just a K. And so internationally, when we're using the identifiers for O'Hare and Midway, they come up as KORD or KMDW. So airspace, when it comes to airspace, all the airspace above us is carved out into different classifications. And each classification has a set of rules of what you can and can't do in that airspace. Generally speaking, airspace that we can enter or fly into only with prior authorization from the controlling authority, in this case, it would be the FAA, are Class A, B, C, and D. Class C and B are, you'll see those in the middle that kind of look like upside down wedding cakes. Class O'Hare International Airport is a Class B airspace. Midway International Airport is a Class C. Airplanes are not allowed to enter that airspace without first talking to and getting permission from air traffic control. And then Class A is anything above 18,000 feet mean sea level. So anything above 18,000 feet is classified as Class A, and you can only fly at that altitude or above with prior authorization. And then airspace we can fly into without talking to a controlling authority is Class G and majority of Class E. And so that's kind of open space where it's not associated with an airport or concentrations of air traffic. And so that is areas that we don't need permission to fly. So in speaking of air traffic control, as you know, the air traffic is controlled by the Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA. At the airport level, it is controlled by the Air Traffic Control Tower. And their purpose is to ensure that aircraft are departing and landing safely and efficiently, I should say, and making sure that everyone is spaced appropriately and accordingly, as well as controlling traffic on the ground as they're taxiing to and from the gates and to the runway. And then the next level of control is referred to the Terminal Radar Approach Control, or the TRACON. In Chicago, the TRACON is located out in Elgin. That's a much larger area of control. Their primary responsibility is ensuring that the air traffic that is arriving and departing to and from both O'Hare and Midway are coming in and lining up, if you will, in an efficient and safe way to allow for the most safe and efficient transition from air to ground or the reverse. And then those are passed off depending on if it's an arrival or departure to either the tower if they're landing, or the next level of control, which is referred to as the Air Route Traffic Control Centers. We refer to these as centers. There are 22 across the US. And as you are traveling across the country, in between your origin and destination, you may be passed off to several centers that would give you directions and headings and speeds to make sure you're traveling safely across the skies. So for instance, if we're traveling from Chicago to Los Angeles, we may be, as we leave Chicago, we'll be talking to Chicago Center, and then passed off to Minneapolis Center. And then as we continue west into Denver, we'll be passed off to Denver Center, and either perhaps Salt Lake City Center or then Los Angeles Center before reaching our destination. Outside of those airspace that's classified as requiring permission to enter, pilots can announce their intentions on a common frequency just to make sure everyone knows where they are. So that's uncontrolled airspace, meaning that there isn't anyone watching on a radar or any other means to make sure that everyone is staying away from each other in a safe manner. So those areas, it's up to the pilot to, it's the pilot's responsibility to make sure that they are flying safely and in a way that's not going to interfere with other air traffic. And so another way to look at that kind of transition from a local airport into the airspace is, as you depart, again, let's say we're leaving Chicago, the air traffic control tower would give us directions and permissions to taxi to the runway. And then we can only take off once we have permission from the tower to do so. Once we take off and depart and get to a safe altitude, the tower will tell us to contact the TRACON for further instructions. We'll be passed on to the TRACON, contact them. They will direct us out of the Chicago airspace to the en route center. Center will then make sure we're transitioning well on our way to our destination. That's once we get back into closer to our destination, we'll transition back to the TRACON control in Los Angeles and get lined up for the runway. Once we are in a transition and safely approaching the airport, the tower will then take over and give us permission to land on the runway, assuming it is safe to do so. And then once we land, the tower will then give us directions to our gate. And that's kind of the transition of air traffic control on a typical flight. So that completes part one of Airport 101. Like I said, we'll continue part two next month, where we'll talk more about kind of airport design, lighting, airfield identification, as well as funding and NEPA. So at this point, are there any questions?
It doesn't appear to have.
Ryan, actually, I'll ask a question. This is Don Weiss from the Village of Addison. And one of your most recent slides where you were talking about the centers, it appeared that there's a lot of centers on the East Coast and just as many, or maybe not quite as many, yeah, thank you, on the West Coast, but the center of the country, they're larger. Is that a population issue? Is it I don't know, the availability of the airports, or is there any reason for that?
That's a good question, and I believe it is sort of tied to population, where there are more on the East Coast and West Coast, a lot of more larger cities with larger airports and a lot of more congested traffic. And so rather than have that under one control center, they've kind of carved it up to make it a little more manageable for those centers. You can see, especially on the East Coast and the Northeast, you'll see New York Center. It's carved up quite a bit there with Boston and Washington, because there is a lot of airports over there that are close by. So that's more of a location of major airports and concentration of major airports.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? If you do have a question and you want to be recognized, it's easy. The easiest thing to do is to just give me a direct message, so I know that you want to ask a question. Okay. All right.
Frank, this is Pete Silvestri. Frank, can you add me to the roll call? I was a little late.
Yes, will do.
Thank you.
Hi, Peter.
How are you, everybody?
We're doing fine.
Sorry, I had some technological problems, which is not uncommon for me. So
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Next is my report. I'll keep this as short as I can. As you may recall, the executive committee held their annual strategic planning session in September. Some of the subjects that we covered and are now beginning to work on are outreach to members, which is what you just participated in today and will be for the next couple of meetings. Tied to that is membership engagement, because I feel that once you're firmly educated as to what you need to know in order to answer a question properly to the people in your villages and towns, you'll be able to act more directly with them. So that because what I envision is that sometime in the future, what I envision in the future is that when there is a question within your village, you will be the expert to give the answer. And if you don't know the answer, you'll know where to go to get the answer. Because I think one of the biggest problems that we have within our villages is the confusion that's created when people began to say things that may or may not be true about the airport. Next on my agenda here is our 25th anniversary. This year is our 25th anniversary, unfortunately, because of COVID. It'd be pretty hard for us to get together. So I think we're going to do it in the spring. I see this hopefully being outside, and I'd like to make sure that we're all able to get together personally and talk to each other by then. I think it's important that we do see each other. These Zoom meetings are really convenient, but I don't know about you, but there's something lacking because of the inability to look at somebody in the eye and talk to. I kind of enjoy that. All right. Lastly, formation of a new subcommittee. Who's,
So,
if you're not
yeah,
talking, please,
everyone needs to please be muted unless you're speaking. And if you're on two devices, it has a really bad echo. So if you're like on a computer and a phone, you need to mute one of them for sure. Mute the sound for yourself. And then please just make sure that you're muted. Otherwise it has really bad feedback for everybody.
I have a habit, if I'm not saying anything, I'll turn my sound off. That way there won't be any mistakes. Lastly is a formation of a new subcommittee to look at mitigation strategies for the daytime. That's something that this committee has never really looked at. It's going to be a working group in the beginning that's going to be reporting to the tech committee. And Ernie, if I may just ask you, how we doing? How's it coming along?
We're in the process of putting the committee together, Joe, and we're also in the process. I've reached out to both Evan and Ryan, and we have a exploratory conference call coming up here in the near future to try to set some ground rules of what direction we're going to take. But I think we've kind of made the decision that we'll do as much investigation as we can. The answer might be that there's nothing we can do to mitigate the noise. But yeah, at least we will have investigated it. And one of the things that I think we're going to do also is go further than just the physical properties of trying to mitigate noise, but to take a look at some of the policy issues that might be addressed.
Okay, thank you very much. Sounds interesting.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm sorry, once you finish this section, I apologize. We actually missed an agenda item, the report of the city of Chicago.
I know I did because I wanted to give everybody a break.
Okay, sorry about that.
I figured once I start talking, they'll start drinking their coffee and relaxing a little bit because looking at the report is kind of intense too. So we will get back to that. And I apologize for just doing it and not telling you. As I mentioned last month, we will be reporting on you on these initiatives. And I welcome your feedback and any suggestions that you may have with some of these initiatives. And with that, I'm going back to number 4 now, or I'm sorry, number 6, report from the City of Chicago Department of Aviation, August 2021 ANMS report. Okay, you can start listening again. Aaron?
Okay, we have the August 2021 monthly airport noise management system report. Pages 1 through 3 provide highlights and overview for the month of August. On page 1, we have our aircraft operations summary updated through the month of August based on the FAA's air traffic activity data system. For August 2021, we saw 69,035 operations. That's a bit down from July. However, that's an increase of 50% over August 2020, and bringing our total operations to 425,889 for the year. So operations continue to recover. Stronger recovery in July, again, due to the pandemic. Majority of demand is still the leisure traveler, so we do expect to see some demand of that fall off into the fall and winter months. Page 2, on the upper right, we have our wind summary for the month. Again, wind is the primary factor influencing runway use. This diagram summarizes the percent of wind occurrences by direction. You'll see for the month of August, we had concentration of winds from directly out of the east, as well as the south and southwest. 12%, that 12% in the middle means that 12% of the instances were calm or variable, so less than 5 knots. As a result of that split of east and south-southwest, the airport was generally split in its flow between west flow and east flow, 51% west flow, 49% east flow. As a result, on the bottom, you'll see for our runway use highlights, the most used departure runway was 28 right with 32%, and the most used arrival runway was 10 center with 23% of the operations. Bottom of page 3, we have our complaints by month table updated through August. We saw 29,970 complaints made through the system. That is a bit down from July, roughly 4% down from July, which actually is very closely correlated to the difference in operations levels. So we were down a bit from July in operations as well as noise complaints for the month of August. Total complaints for the year so far, 186,105. Page 4 is our aircraft fleet mix report, where we break down all the different types of aircraft operating at O'Hare into 3 major categories. We have our regional aircraft, which represented a little over 52% of the operations at O'Hare for the month. Narrow body aircraft, 36.7% of the operations, and wide body aircraft, just 9.4% of the operations for the month of August. Our total average operations per day for the month for all hours was 2,212. 11% of those operations occurred during the nighttime hours as defined as 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Page 5 is our runway use report for daytime, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. The runway use report shows average daily departures and arrivals for the current month of August compared to July, as well as the running 12-month average. The bottom graphic shows the percentage departure and arrival utilizations by each runway end for the month. In green for departures, you can see our primary runway for departures for the month in both west flow and east flow was 10 left, 28 right. So approximately 61% of the daytime departures occurred on that runway, 32% in west flow and 24% in east flow. 9 center accounted for 25% of the departures in west flow. So that runway was heavily used as well for departures when the airport was operating in east flow. Again, it's important to note that runway 9 right, 27 left is currently closed while the extension construction is ongoing, and that will reopen December 2nd of this year. On the arrival side, the primary runway was 28 center and 10 center, same piece of pavement in both directions, depending on west flow or east flow. 22% arrivals on east flow, 18% in west flow. We did see 9 left with 19% in east flow as well. On the west flow side, 27 right with 16% and 27 center with 15%. Page 6 is the runway use report for nighttime, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Important to note that this is just nighttime. It doesn't delineate flight quiet mode specifically operations. Those numbers are reflected in our quarterly flight quiet report, and our next one will be presented at the upcoming technical committee meeting later this month. For nighttime, you'll see again, the primary runway was 28 right, departures at 39% west flow and 22% east flow, and arrivals 10 center, 28 center, the primary arrival runway, 37% in west flow, 37 or 30% in east flow. So a majority of the operations on those 2 runways during the overnight hours. Again, with 9 right, 27 left closed, that is typically our primary preferential runway during nighttime. And so those arrivals did have to be shipped to other runways during the overnight hours while that pavement was closed for construction. Page 7 is our permanent noise monitor locations, where we show the geographic location of all 37 permanent noise monitors around O'Hare. Page 8 is the aircraft noise report of the first set of our noise monitors showing the aircraft day-night average sound level updated through August 21 for each of the monitors. The August 21 column is color-coded. As a reminder, red represents an increase of 1 decibel or more compared to the same month of the previous year. Green represents a decibel or more decrease compared to the same month of the previous year. And as you can see, the majority showed an increase of a decibel or more. That is no surprise, as we are comparing to August 2020, where the airport was still had very low operations due to the ongoing COVID pandemic. Page 9 is the continuation of the noise report with the remaining sites. Again, majority of the sites showing at least a decibel or more compared to August 2020. The noise levels, again, representative of the significant increase in operations when comparing August 21 to August 20. And again, we do have ongoing data for our new site that was commissioned in June of this year for Site 45 in Niles, updated through August. We do have new monitors that will be coming online in the near future. If you want to hear more about the noise monitors, please attend the technical committee meeting where we discuss those in depth. Page 10 is our noise complaint report updated through August 2021. The noise complaint report shows the number of verifiable households that made noise complaints through the Department of Aviation's noise complaint system. We updated through August and also compared to June and July. As you can see, there were a total of 418 verifiable households that made complaints in the month of August. That's down a bit from July, but we did see a decrease in the level of operations in the month, so that does make sense. The major complaints were from Chicago, Park Ridge, and Wooddale had the most number of individual verifiable households making complaints in the month of August. The tables to the right show the method of complaint nature and time of complaints breakout. For method, by far website is the preferred method with almost 99% of the complaints occurring through the website. Nature of complaint, 85% for aircraft noise, and time of complaint, 77.4% daytime, 22.6% of the complaints were made for nighttime operations. Page 11 shows the geographic location of all of those verifiable households that made complaints in August. As you can see, the pattern does align with the split of East Flow and West Flow operations. A bit more of complaints on the east side of the airport, whether it be in line with West Flow arrival traffic or East Flow departure traffic. You can see a lot of concentration of the dots in Rosemont, Park Ridge, and Ward 41, most likely associated with departures occurring off of New Runway 9 Center in East Flow operations. And that completes the report for August 2021.
Thank you, Ryan. I have a question, or a quick question. Could you go back to the departure page showing departures and arrivals?
This
All right,
page?
looks like, yeah, that one. And so it looks like 27 Center has 25% departures in August. Is that correct?
Yeah, 25% of the departures occurred on 9 Center. Yes.
Okay, is there any way of me finding out how much of those, in that 25%, how many aircraft in terms of percentages or even numbers immediately make a left turn?
Okay, we can look at kind of a dispersion of departures off that runway. I would say the majority of the departures on 9 Center do tend to turn to the north. Whereas the departures off of 10 left on the south to the east do tend to turn towards the south. The air traffic does prefer to, depending on where the destination, assign the runway so that, they're able to either go north or south, depending on which direction they're going, to avoid turning into each other off those two runways. But that being said, there are occasions with low operations that they may turn 9 center operations to the south. That may occur on occasion.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Ernie? You're on, Ernie.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Hey, Ryan, I'm correct in saying that the 25% of those departures on 9 center will shift back to 9 right once it reopens. Am I right?
I don't know if it'll be 25%, but once 9 right, 27 left is extension is complete, and OMP for that matter is finished. The airport was designed for what we refer to as the inboard runways, which are 9 right, 27 left, and 10 left, 28 right, to be the primary departure runways in east flow or west flow, and 9 center, 27 center, and 10 center, 28 center be the primary arrival runways. So as designed, the majority of departures would shift from 9 center to 9 right once that extension is complete.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't trying to hold you to the exact percentage number. I was just trying to make sure that what we had intended is indeed going to be the case, that those departures, the bulk of those departures should come off of 9 center and go back to 9 right.
That's how the airport was designed to operate.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. If there aren't any more questions, thank you, Ryan, and I apologize. I call it 27 center. It should have been 9 center. I apologize. And Ryan, being as bright as you are, you still understood what I was talking about. Thank you. Next, reports on standing and ad hoc committees. The first report will be with the Fly Quiet Committee. I will ask Chair to give an update on the committee's progress. Karen?
Thank you, Chairman. The Fly Quiet Committee met on Thursday, September 23rd via Zoom. Our discussion focused on the review of Alternative H, specifically the review of primary configurations and the requested modifications that we discussed at the previous meeting. The committee had shared concerns about potential consecutive impacts and had asked if there was a way to spread out back-to-back crosswind weeks. The committee reviewed a revised schedule where I and L were no longer back-to-back in the schedule and alternating them with the north and south parallel weeks. However, in doing so, the long runway could potentially be the same 2 weeks in a row, but the operation could be different depending on the winds. The committee voted against maintaining the original Alternative H in its current form, and the committee then voted to move forward with the modified primary configurations. The committee then started its review of primary headings for Alternative H, which will continue at our next meeting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Residential's committee report in September. Chairman Sorsay?
Thank you, Chairman. So the residential committee met on September 29th, 2021. Regarding odor issues, funding was made available through a state statute to allow windows and doors to be replaced in homes where an offensive odor is coming in at least from one window or one door that was previously installed by the Residential Sound Insulation Program. In accordance with the state statute, the RSIP Advisory Committee was formed to determine the sequencing of homes that will receive window and odor replacements. The CDA mailed letters informing homeowners that they have 6 months to request an odor inspection. These letters went out to all homes that received sound insulation, which is over 21,000 homes near the O'Hare and Midway airports combined. Everyone who requests an odor inspection by February 21st, 2022 will be eligible to receive replacement windows and doors if an offensive odor is confirmed. A legal notice with the same information included in the letters was published in 4 newspapers beginning August 20th of 2021. The newspapers include the Chicago Tribune, the Southwest News Herald, the Polish Daily News for the Polish-speaking community, and the Fin de Semana for the Spanish-speaking community. The CDA has offered to assist with any additional outreach efforts each communities near the O'Hare Airport. Several teams of inspectors are currently conducting odor inspections, and appointments are currently being scheduled for the next few months. If an odor is not confirmed during an odor inspection, the homeowner may request an additional odor inspection. So far, offensive odors are confirmed in 213 homes near O'Hare. Moving on to phase 17, bid package 3, which includes 129 historical homes in the Norwood Park Historical District. The city of Chicago awarded construction contract in July, and the notice to proceed was issued on August 6th. The contractor is working on submittals and other pre-construction activities. The next step will include field measurements and appointments where the contractor will measure each window and door before placing orders for custom products. These field measurement appointments will take place in each home beginning as early as the end of the fourth quarter of this year. For phase 18, there are 390 homes enrolled in this phase. Home inventory appointments were conducted in all but one of those homes. The city of Chicago awarded a construction contract for phase 18A in June for 225 homes, and the notice to proceed was issued on June 25th. Field measurement appointments for the homes included in this construction contract started on September 13th. The city of Chicago is expected to advertise for phase 18B construction bids for the remaining 165 homes in the fourth quarter of this year. For phase 19, there are 381 homes enrolled in this phase. Home inventory appointments were conducted in 321 homes, and the remaining appointments are being scheduled. Specification documents are being prepared for 2 construction contracts. Phase 19A will include 200 homes, and phase 19B will include the remaining homes. At this time, it is anticipated that 19A will be advertised for bids in the fourth quarter of this year, and 19B will be advertised for bids in the first quarter of next year. The next residential committee meeting will take place on Wednesday, November 10th, per Zoom, and 9:30 a.m., which is currently scheduled to be conducted, like I said, per Zoom meeting. And that concludes my report, Chairman. Thank you.
Joe, you're muted.
Sorry. It's the ad hoc budget committee meeting. It is budget season. The ad hoc budget committee has been keeping busy reviewing the 2022 budget. Dr. Cooper, can you provide us with an update?
Sure, Joe, thank you. The ONCC Ad Hoc Budget Committee has met twice on September 20th and 23rd. We are planning to meet again next week to potentially finalize the budget for next year and anticipate it being ready to be presented at our next general meeting in November. We are working with the same overall number, budget number that is, just looking at ways to organize and redistribute to make the budget more efficient and up to date with actual expenses. I'd like to thank the members of the committee for serving. We look forward to presenting the final budget to you in November. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ray. We're on number 9, report of ONCC interim executive director.
I have the financial reports for June through August. Expenses for the month of June were in the amount of $12,560.66. Expenses for the month of July in the amount of $81,016.12. And the month of August in the amount of $220. Can I get a motion to approve the financial reports for the months of June, July, and August?
I'll move we accept the director's report.
I'll second that. Second.
Call the roll.
Village of Addison,
Yes.
Arlington Heights,
Yes.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Bensonville,
Yes.
Bloomingdale,
Yes.
Chicago. Save Chicago.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Chicago 36th Ward,
Yes.
38th Ward,
Yes.
39th Ward,
Yes.
Cook County,
Yes.
Des Plaines,
Yes.
Downers Grove, not here, DuPage County,
Yes.
Elmhurst,
Yes.
Elmwood Park, Elmwood Park, Franklin Park,
Yes.
Glenview,
Yes.
Harwood Heights,
Yes.
Lincolnwood,
Yes.
Melrose Park,
Yes.
Niles,
Yes.
Norwich,
Yes.
North Lake,
Yes.
Palatine,
Yes.
Park Ridge,
Yes.
River Grove,
Yes.
Rosemont,
Yes.
Schaumburg,
Yes.
Schiller Park,
Yes.
South Barrington,
Yes.
Stone Park, Wayne, Wooddale,
Yes.
School District 2, 7,
Yes.
59, 80,
Yes.
86,
Yes.
87,
Yes.
100,
Yes.
214,
Yes.
234.
Yes.
Did I miss anyone? Okay, all good. Thank you.
Approved. Our next ONCC meeting will be November 5th, 2021. With that, we're going to go to comments from the members. Any comments from the members? Having none, comments from the audience.
Mr. Dwyer would like to speak.
Dan?
Yes, thank you, Chair. My question is about full build-out runway utilization, which is now just 2 months away. And my understanding was to achieve the projected OMP runway utilization required LASSO or land and hold short in the North Airfield when the airfield was designed 20 years ago. Although we've learned in tech and fly quiet, the safety culture has evolved since then. And a hint of this change was in the TAP EA, the inclusion of 10 right and a triple approach as a non-LASSO configuration. So my question is, can anyone answer if the runway utilization projections have changed from current full build out versus the 20-year-old projections because of changes in LASSO acceptance?
Chairman, it's Aaron. I'll answer if that's okay.
Sure.
Hi, Dan. Good morning.
Morning.
LASSO procedures are published for 9 center and 10 center. They're on the aeronautical charts that the pilots are using today. To my knowledge, nobody has changed the operations forecast. The numbers that are still in effect are the ones from the 2015 reevaluation of the EIS. So that was the modeling done at that time, anticipating what air traffic would look like, upon this milestone of reaching build out. I think suffice it to say, the numbers are outdated, most notably because of the pandemic. And while the aviation industry recovers, right, so the overall numbers are lower, and it remains to be seen how those runways are used in total. But I can tell you that for all that we know, that the combination of runways in terms of which runways are used for arrivals and departures should be the same. So I think that's something that FAA headquarters will be looking at across the board for all the airports across the country, including O'Hare. But to go back to your original question, it is I do not believe that publication of LASSO has changed the numbers themselves. It's my understanding that the numbers are what they are from 6 years ago, and LASSO procedures are in place for 2 new runways in addition to that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions from the audience? If not, I'd just like to mention before we adjourn that the ONCC technical meeting will be October 19th at 9 o'clock. Location to be announced, and the ONCC Fly Quiet Committee meeting will be October 28th at 9:30 with location to be announced. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn by Silvestri.
Second, anyone?
Second.
Call the roll.
Russ, second.
Russ Klug, okay. Call the roll, please.
Addison,
Yes.
Arlington Heights. Bartlett. Bensonville,
Yes.
Bloomingdale,
Yes.
City of Chicago,
Yes.
Chicago 36th Ward,
Yes.
38th Ward,
Yes.
39th Ward,
Yes.
Cook County,
Yes.
Des Plaines,
Yes.
DuPage County,
Yes.
Elmhurst,
Yes.
Elmwood Park, Franklin Park,
Yes.
Glenview,
Yes.
Harwood Heights,
Yes.
Lincolnwood,
Yes.
Melrose Park,
Yes.
Niles,
Yes.
Norridge,
Yes.
North Lake,
Yes.
Palatine,
Yes.
Park Ridge,
Yes.
River Grove,
Yes.
Rosemont,
Yes.
Schaumburg,
Yes.
Schiller Park,
Yes.
South Barrington,
Yes.
Wooddale,
Yes.
School District 2, sorry, 7,
Yes.
59, 80,
Yes.
86,
Yes.
87,
Yes.
100,
Yes.
14,
District 214, yes.
234.
Yes.
Okay, we're adjourned.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for everybody attending. I'll see you next month.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
Hi.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Bye-bye.